In our culture, the resilient woman is both admirable and held at high honor, but it doesn't always feel so honorable, does it? Being the one who is everything for everyone else can be heavy. And as the quieter one, everyone thinks you have everything all together. But inside, you feel as if you are losing yourself in the process. I believe that you too can have a life that is both purposeful and fulfilled, even as the resilient woman you are. Her authentic journey, this is a personal journey of mine, and I go before you, sharing what I wish I had early on, having the conversations we rarely speak of, and sharing lessons learned and unlearned as I let go of striving for a life that I thought I had to live, a life that resembled those strong women before me, to then build a life that is authentic to me. And along this personal journey of mine, I discovered the secret key to our more in the life of fulfillment that we desire for ourselves. This is more accessible than we think. And it begins by becoming true to who you are, not who you've had to be. So come along this journey of finally walking into the fulfilled life you were meant for. Hi, welcome back to Her Authentic Journey, the podcast. I'm your host, Navasia. We are back today with another episode introducing the life navigation system. If you're just now tuning in, please go back to the previous episodes and get caught up. We are speaking on the method on purpose. It is an intentional path and a more purposeful way of approaching life. And previously we talked about the mindset, which is the first component. And mindset is about how you see, think, and believe about yourself and the world. Today we'll be talking about environment, the surroundings and condition in which you operate. Your environment influences your behaviors, motivation, and your moods. This is basically about setting up your surroundings in support of and in alignment with who you are and where you want to be. You see, what you see, hear, feel, say, and even the company you keep will affect how you see, hear, think, feel, and speak, and show up in life. Is your environment in alignment with who you are and where you're going, or is it in support of who you were or who you had to be? Our environment plays a significant role in the decisions, the goals, and desires we have for ourselves. And in the same token, it can also be the same sneaky factor that can impede those same decisions, goals, dreams, and aspirations. For example, COVID. Things were shut down. The hospitals were filling up. Everyone's getting sick, and the death numbers were just increasing felt like the minutes and the seconds. That was the only thing you could hear, see, or think for the most part, no matter where you were. From my personal experience during the pandemic and the first shutdown, it was a lot. I had to ultimately stop watching the news because no matter how much of a good spirit or mood that I woke up to or tried to wake up to, it would immediately shift. You know, I'm already a protective and careful nature, so that then would shift to overly protective and extremely cautious as I sat down to watch the news and found myself glued to the TV for the entire day. I am already a homebody, so the shutdown, it didn't really bother me in that way. As far as staying in one place and everyone being closed in and shut down, that didn't bother me too much. It was just watching the number of deaths and cases growing immensely, and it had my anxiety shooting through the roof. Imagining for myself, me being sick or my kids being sick, being hospitalized away from my family with no visits, nothing. It got to the point where I had to tell my fiance, like, honestly, if I were to get sick and they were to send me to the hospital, I'm not going to make it. I am not going to make it. So we're going to have to get some things in order. It was my entire day. When I tell you that we would get up, say our good mornings, do our routine, and then we find ourselves glued to the TV. The news popping up, all the things. And After a long discussion with my fiance, I had to make a choice to turn it off. I had to cut myself completely off. I would briefly update now and then throughout the week, reading the news, but it was affecting my everyday life. My entire family was home. When it was supposed to be a time of togetherness or a time of, everyone depending on each other, as a woman, we are the glue. We are the person everyone looks to for confirmation whether everything is okay or not. So I had to make that choice. I had to disconnect myself in ways that would benefit me personally and like physically, mentally, and would benefit the family as a whole. And because I made that choice, I believe had a lot to do with the shift that happened in my life. The doubling down on this journey, I really, really credit that decision. Our thoughts and beliefs of people and things around us can impact our own. Think of the thoughts that were put upon you when you were younger. I know for me at a young age, I learned and ultimately felt in a roundabout way that nobody ever wanted to hear what I had to say. So you can imagine the amount of mindset work and battles from within that I had to work through in order to get to this point of doing this podcast. It took a lot of work, growing up, seeing those beautiful women before us show up for everyone with so much power and authority. That is what we see, and that's how we assume the role. We now know how honorable it is to embody these characteristics. However, we didn't think it was going to sometimes feel in the way that it does, right? The heaviness. Which goes to show that we cannot always control everything we see or everything that surrounds us. However, we can take responsibility for the things we now know and can control. If you're in a rough spot in life or just feel on edge or down on life, you probably shouldn't hang around those people that make you feel worse about yourself, right? Or will do anything in order to get a reaction out of you, right? Or if you're in need of advice on a serious relationship matter, you probably shouldn't get the advice from your happily single girlfriend or a friend that is fresh off of a messy breakup herself. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we just do things simply because we have always done them. We have to be careful with our surroundings and the conditions in which we operate within our surroundings, especially if we're trying to grow in life and grow our mindset, if that is what we truly want. Is your environment, the things, people that surround you, in alignment with who you are and who you want to become? Or is it just what you have always done? And in what areas can you change that? Please don't hesitate to send me a DM, an email, and let me know what you think of the episode. Thank you for listening to Her Authentic Journey, the podcast. I hope you enjoyed and were able to grab something meaningful from this episode. If so, please support by sharing with a friend, rate and review. You can also refer to our show notes for more. Until next time, remember, be true to who you are, not who you've had to be.